Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I hope you're well from wherever you're watching this channel. Now, let me take you to this story that is currently trending about KICC. First of all, I don't know how many of you observed the mood on William Ruto's face, because logically, Ruto was taken through series of tough questions, and honestly, he never addressed those questions as usual.
Mr. President, people in this room are angry because of two people. One, it is you. I've told you I'll be impeached if I do not tell you the truth. My constituents told me that they feel, and I will put this as respectfully as possible, that you advise your advisors.
So I would like to take you to some of the trending stories about this issue of the KICC debate, because there's a word also on the ground that Babu Owino was denied access, and most likely we know one of the reasons could have been maybe Babu Owino would have cornered William Ruto more. So from that engagement, the students managed to tell William Ruto that he has been taking them through roller coaster stories around in cycles, talking about figures which are wrong. Like there's a particular case whereby there was a pronouncement of 70 billion, then 51 billion, then 180 billion. So this statement, according to the students, is that Ruto has been giving conflicting figures. So in a nutshell, what they were saying is that Ruto has been lying. So I want us to go extensively into this story, but before you do that, please like this video. It's so important. If you like this video, I'm so grateful for everyone who has been liking our videos. I don't take that for granted. Subscribe to our channel if you've not subscribed before, and to existing subscribers, thank you so much for your support. Now, we all know that Ruto has been looking for each and every means possible to try to bring back the trust of the GENZs, because if you look at the politics of 2022, the people who voted for William Ruto the most were the youths. So he knows that. Because he knows that, he knows very well that these people can as well unseat him, and that is the threat that William Ruto is facing right now.
Also talk about, I come from KICC, which is a private university, and my question there is in, you have spoken, I've understood what you have said in regards to scholarship and the loans. Comrades, kama SG wende mtu wa mkono. I have my president here, Masai Chebet. Comrades come to you and tell you, Kisero, we have been placed in this band, and people are really suffering, Mr. President. And my question is, why then do CUPs have to place them in private university if they can't be sustained the same way as those in public university? And in that regard, Mr. President, I acknowledge that you have said the government, this is my chance with the Mr. President. You have acknowledged that the government said it has debts, and my university is one that is in the same category. Tunadai the government. They have been so lenient enough to allow students to learn with the limited resources they have. Tunaomba tu hata kidogo ndio university iendelee kufanya kazi, because we need to learn, those who we are there in KEM. Then Mr. President, recently you were awarded a beautiful degree at Baraton University, if I'm not wrong.
Honorary.
Honorary. Yes. Degree at Baraton University. And there was one picture that really took my attention. I know most of you saw the picture. There was a little girl called Naomi who was in the midst of graduates, and he was there admiring all the graduates, the beautiful gown. Then I asked myself, why does this new funding model want to kill the dream of that young girl of one day graduating? I want to say this, Mr. President. As the commander, I first started by saying I acknowledge your president as your presence as the 5th president and the commander-in-chief of our defense forces. And one of your roles in that regard is to act. Please act, Mr. President. We beg you. Please act. Then lastly, namalizia kabisa. Lastly, Mr. President, We don't have to go to the street when we can resolve this thing here today. Ama namna gani wangwana? Yes. Because we also don't like going to the streets when we can solve things at the table. We are ready to be part of the discussion. We are ready to listen. We are ready to work and ensure that we change this. But the bottom line remain, let's go to the old funding model, amend it to what you wanted to achieve with the new funding model. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Before we get further, let me share some tweets which were posted in relating to this story, ladies and gentlemen. First, there's a tweet from Ayush. Ayush says, JKUAT Secretary General has openly told William Ruto that he advises his advisors. The fear is gone. The new funding model must fall together with Ruto. I think this is a particular incident where, in the midst of trying to have a one-on-one engagement with William Ruto, who was seen scratching his head that he has been advising his advisors.
I will put this as respectfully as possible, that you advise your advisors.
I don't know that you understand that point, ladies and gentlemen. Advising his advisors. It means from this story, ladies and gentlemen, is that these advisors are idle. Most likely because if they can't advise William Ruto, that he's the one who's advising these advisors to advise him in a particular way, it can only mean that these advisors are very idle. And maybe that is why, maybe I think Buddy was right when he said there should be only one advisor per ministry, one advisor, because these advisors, they are just joyriders based on this statement from the student leader. Now, on to the second part. Let me tell you about Babu Owino. Babu Owino was one of those people who reacted. And let's be honest, Babu Owino tried to access the venue because one of the concerns is that he knew these people were not going to communicate exactly what the problem is. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Part of this funding model is not only the fund, the way it's being funded. It is the cost of education which has been heightened. The cost, the actual tuition cost has been heightened. So there is this common notion that why not take away all those bursaries which have been allocated to the president, bursary to the deputy president, bursary to the governor, the senator, the MCA, the women rep, the member of parliament. Why don't you consolidate all those bursaries and make education cheaper? So I think Babu Owino's point here is make education cheaper. And that is what William Ruto was being confronted with, ladies and gentlemen. So let me take you through a tweet by Babu Owino. He said, some comrades kuwasaidia ni ngumu. We are here, fee must fall, but wako town hall kusikiza uongo. Fee can't fall from town hall, you need to focus guys sometimes. 2K mnapewa, sitafanya mteseke, juu he will see mko pamoja and nothing will be done on school fee and poor students will remain suffering. Msiteme Big G kwa karanga za kuonyeshwa. You see, I think I agree with Babu Owino. As much as the discussion was more or less trying to address William Ruto's lies, the promises which have not been delivered, the wrong figures which have been thrown, which he keeps throwing everywhere, because there's talk of 50 billion. Then there's the issue of 80 billion. These are debts from help debts. Then there's 180 billion. So these numbers keep skyrocketing day by day. So that is one of the things which Ruto was confronted with. So Babu Owino is saying that is not only the problem. The problem is fee must fall. I think I agree with Babu Owino here. That is the problem. Students don't know, but that's the problem. The biggest problem is that fee must fall. Because if one could pay maybe let's say 50 to 60,000 a semester, and now that fee has been heightened to almost 100 and something thousand, don't you see that is what should be addressed first of all? The fact that the fees is very expensive right now is what Babu Owino is saying should be addressed. Now, there's also a Twitter handler by the name, an ex-handler by the name Professor TV. So Professor TV says, what was wrong with the old funding model that could not be amended? This guy asking Ruto the right questions. Wow. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. What is wrong with the old funding model? Why not better that old funding model to make it better. This is akin to what happened with NHIF and SHIF, because there's a general notion that why not better NHIF rather than just discard it and introduce a totally different entity like SHA. So to cut the whole story short, ladies and gentlemen, Ruto needs to wake up to the reality, and the reality was conveyed during that KICC town hall meeting. Despite the fact that people like Babu Owino were not allowed to gain entrance into that facility, but the session was handled with a lot of maturity from the GENZs who represented other comrades in that area. But you see, one pertinent issue that I managed to pick from the whole thing is that it's indeed very few people trust in William Ruto's policies these days. Because honestly, if you are very keen listening to things which are being said there, then most likely you've noticed that people don't like the fact that Ruto gives them promises and then these promises are not kept. You see, that is the biggest concern of the youths. Despite the fact that Babu Owino talks about fee must fall. You remember sometimes in South Africa,
holding up their student cards because all we want to do is enter campus. We are calling for free and quality education. We need the commission to be sped up, the terms of reference to change, not just from feasibility, but to how we're going to realize it, and we want timelines. When are we going to be implementing free and quality education?
There was that debate of fee must fall, and then it resulted to some demonstrations from the universities in South Africa. The fee must fall call. So what Babu Owino is trying to introduce here is another wave of fee must fall. That is what the university comrades are supposed to focus on. It's not only the funding model, because Ruto can introduce the old funding model back. But the old funding model will require that you get more money from the help. So it means you will still be paying the same fees, and then you will owe the government a lot of money at the end of the day. Because if, for instance, if your budget for 1 year was like 200,000, let's just say, for instance, 200,000, or let's say 150,000, and then this cost has been doubled. Now your budget will shoot to 400,000. Even if the government gives you that 400,000, you shall have paid more. So this is what Babu Owino is trying to bring here. I think that's what was not addressed in that meeting, and I think Ruto was glad because that is not what was addressed. What was addressed was the issue of how this funding model should be bettered and how to successfully gauge people based on bands, not just put people without considering other factors. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to raise my case there. But what do you think about this KICC town hall meeting? Did it go according to your expectation? Do you feel Ruto was cornered? Do you feel something will come out of that meeting? Just go below in the comment section and you can offer your reaction. So perhaps if you're watching this video and you've not subscribed, take 1 second and subscribe, like this video. Until you catch up again, stay safe and stay blessed.